Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanandi Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vraj Gacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Boy Charanaravinda Bhakti Raghava Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Daily Thai Gold Primanande all gladies to be assembled devotees, all gladies to be assembled devotees, all gladies to be assembled devotees, all gladies to see Guru and to see Gauranga, all gladies to see the Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Taksurundaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Svam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanditam Sya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sukhijivi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotees, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti bhasaram pangum langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Shri Gurum Janataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Shri Gurum Janataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 17, which is entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. And today we are reading text number 5. Yes. Kas Tvam Mach Charane Loke Balad Damsi Abalam Bali Nara Devo asi veshena natavat karmana dvijaha kastvam mascharane loke balad dham shabalan vadi naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha kastvam mascharane loke balad dham shabalan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha kastvam mascharane loke balad dham shabalam bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha kastvam mascharane loke baladham shabalan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha
Kastam
mascharane loke
baladham shabalan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha
kastvam mascharane loke
baladham shabalan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana
dvijaha kastvam mascharane loke baladham shabalan bali naradevo siveshena natavat karmana dvijaha kaha who are tvam you mat my sarane under protection loke in this world balat by force hamsi killing abalam those who are helpless bali although full of strength naradeva man god asi appear to be vishena by your dress natavat like a theatrical player karmana by deeds advija a man twice born by culture Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Raghava Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless. By your dress, you pose yourself to be a godly man, king. But by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice-born Kṣatriyas. Kindly repeat after me. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong,
You appear to be strong,
and yet you dare kill.
and yet you dare kill.
Within my protection,
Within my protection,
those who are helpless.
those who are helpless.
By your dress,
By your dress,
you pose yourself
you pose yourself
to be a godly man,
to be a godly man,
king.
king.
But by your deeds,
But by your deeds,
you are opposing
you are opposing
the principles of the twice-born Kshatriyas.
the principles of the twice-born Kshatriyas.
Purport. The Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are called twice-born because for these higher classes of men, there is one birth by parental conjugation, and there is another birth by cultural rejuvenation, by spiritual initiation from the bona fide acharya or spiritual master. So a kshatriya is also twice born like a brahmana, and his duty is to give protection to the helpless. The kshatriya king is considered to be the representative of God, to give protection to the helpless and chastise the miscreants. Whenever there are anomalies in this routine work by the administrators, there is an incarnation of the Lord to reestablish the principles of a godly kingdom. In the age of Kali, the poor, helpless animals, especially the cows, which are meant to receive all sorts of protection from the administrative heads, are killed without restriction. Thus, the administrative heads under whose noses such things happen are representatives of God in name only. Such powerful administrators are rulers of the poor citizens by dress or office, but factually they are worthless, low-class men without the cultural assets of the twice-born. No one can expect justice or equality of treatment from once born, spiritually uncultured, lower class men. Therefore, in the age of Kali, everyone is unhappy due to the maladministration of the state. The modern human society is not twice born by spiritual culture. Therefore, the people's government by the people who are not twice born must be a government of Kali in which everyone is unhappy. Translation again. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless. By your dress, you pose yourself to be a godly man, king. But by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice-born Kshatriyas. So the topic of Dvija, Dvija is part of a very integral and essential component within the Vedic culture. Everyone, by the laws of nature, automatically is born from a mother. That is automatically taking place. But when one is fortunate to attain the human form of life, one has the opportunity to be born again, as mentioned here, culturally. Prabhupada translates as Dvija, born culturally, and the word, of course, that is used is Advija, a man not born, not twice born by culture. So this is an eternal culture. This is part of the eternal culture of Sanatana Dharma. That society is meant to be directed and governed by such twice born there's controversy about twice born in terms of who can be twice born.
The bird.
Huh?
The bird.
The birds.
Once in the egg and the second one when very
Right. That's a different context. Who can be twice born in the human species of life? To be more precise. Who are meant to be twice born?
have to change the identity because birth means new identity. If someone is able to change the identity, that's we can call it twice born.
So, twice born is, of course, in the context of the system of varnashrama. Those who are, for example, there are specific subject matters. There are specific sciences. There is a specific training by which one can become qualified to be twice born. To be twice born means one receives spiritual initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, having been properly trained and educated. That is, those who are twice born are meant to be the natural leaders in society. No society can function properly unless there are bona fide, qualified leaders, isn't it? So in the Vedic culture, those natural leaders are designated as twice born. Means the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. And leader means that he will lead by example. He will show by example, not only in terms of what he will say, but his whole life will be an example and a demonstration of what he is actually teaching. So in other words, Prabhupada is making the point here, of course, how in Kali-yuga especially, and this began, the symptoms This is the first symptom we are encountering. This Parikshit Maharaj is coming across one person who is addressed like a king, but actually not one of the first. What are the three main duties and responsibilities of someone who's a king? First is protection. Protection in terms of physical protection when needed, and protection in terms of providing the proper opportunity for receiving knowledge, this Vedic knowledge. So protection takes on different dimensions, but that is especially the responsibility of Kṣatriya kings, protection. What are the other two? Administration. Administrations, they are the ones who are meant to organize society. Therefore, they need facilities. They need generally, well, that's described actually in the Kautilya Arthashastra, that within a kingdom there needs to be traditionally what is called a fort where a king would reside and where he would be organizing and maintaining his kingdom. So forts kind of like developed like modern day cities, where generally in big cities, in capitals, in the largest cities, most capitals in the world are in quite large cities. So protection, administration, and the third duty and responsibility of those who are in position of leadership as kings, Kshatriyas, is
Taxation.
welfare. Welfare means in times of distress, in times of different calamities, they will provide what is needed for their praja. King is known as Prajapati. He is like a father in a family, meant to give care and protection to the family members. So a king, all who are born in his kingdom become his praja. And of course, in the Vedic culture, not only human beings are considered as praja, but also all living entities, animals, and in particular the cow, which is what is especially being discussed here. The mother cow is and father bull are being very badly mistreated by this particular personality, and this is the first exchange that is taking place between Parikshit Maharaj and this particular person. So Prabhupada is pointing out how when he's especially describing very briefly what is taking place in modern day society, that when we have such unqualified persons then no one can actually be happy in society. So this is one of the main themes that we have been looking at and studying. Therefore, Prabhupada was very conscious of the need for providing systematic training to individuals, so that Prabhupada was very clear and very strong on this point as well, that that we need to re-establish or restore such qualified individuals. In addressing his disciples in America, maybe in one class at one point, he mentioned that if you American boys and girls can re-establish the Brahminical culture and the Kṣatriya culture, actually they're all cultures. Every varna within the system of varnashrama is part of that eternal culture, and each members of that eternal culture, which is the basis of which is to actually serve the Lord, serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Only in such a system can there be proper harmony amongst the different orders of society. Otherwise, we will have clashes amongst. This has been. That's why Prabhupada referred to this this particular aspect. Particular aspect means Prabhupada was speaking about the different phases in which to re-establish this culture. What are those four that Prabhupada spoke about? 4 phases, and the last one is what we're talking about.
First one was Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan.
Yes.
Second was...
What does that mean? Prabhupada spoke about the Sankirtan movement. We're actually all part of the Sankirtan movement. What is the Sankirtan movement? In the context that Prabhupada describes it actually in his essay on Gita Nagari. What does Sankirtan mean?
Sankirtan, to propagate the chanting of these names.
Yes.
So that people could take benefit in this fallen age.
There are 2 aspects actually. That is one of them. Yeah. The first aspect of the Sankirtan movement is Kirtan, the chanting of the holy name. What's the other one?
Second one.
What is the other aspect of the Sankirtan movement that Prabhupada refers to? If we go back 500 years ago, what did Lord Chaitanya do? He did 2 very significant things. One took place in Navadvip, Mayapur, Navadvip, and the other one took place in Vrindavan. What took place in Mayapur and what took place in Vrindavan? In Mayapur, in Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya introduced, after performing Harinam Sankirtan in the house of Srivas Thakur for 1 year, then they decided to take out the Harinam Sankirtan in the streets of Navadvip. So So introducing the holy name. The second was deputing his most confidential, some of his most confidential associates, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, to write books. We chant every morning the glorification of the Goswamis, who were deputed to scrutinizingly study the Vedic literatures and take out the essence being bhakti or devotional service. So this is the first phase of the whole, let's say, process for reintroducing, re-establishing this eternal culture of Sanatana Dharma. The chanting of the holy name, which is the Yuga Dharma, and then writing and distributing and reading and studying and discussing and putting into practice what is written in the transcendental literatures given to us by the Goswamis of Vrindavan and by our other Vaishnavacharyas. So that was and still remains, depending on where we are preaching, depending on where we are living. In many places, it is like, because it's the first of 4 phases, then when one goes to some place, that is how we introduce. That's how we make people aware of this culture, of this eternal culture. So I'm just referring to this, actually wanting to make the point regarding the 4th one. We don't have to go into all of the 4, but the 4th one, Prabhupada called this, what did Prabhupada call the 4th of his movement? Classless society. What does classless society mean?
Society without jati system.
What does classless society? Not exactly like that. Classless society, in the context that Prabhupada spoke about, meant in many ways clashless. Clashless means without
Conflict.
Yes, good word. Without clashes or without conflicts, without because the whole we're talking here about dvijas. When the dvijas are are not firmly established in bhakti, because when Prabhupada speaks about classless society, he means that all members, not only the dvijas, but also those who may not be dvijas, which generally will mean the the majority of the population, but they will also be on the same track. They will also be engaged or focused on the same, we could say, goal and destination. So by classless society, what's another term that has become quite, let's say, that was introduced possibly more recently? More recently means we can trace it to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which conveys this idea, which is meant to convey the idea of classless society. It begins with D. And there are 2 words, one is D and one is V. Yeah, Daiva. Yeah, Daiva. What is in our context, or in the context utilized by our acharyas, the meaning of Daiva? The general meaning of Daiva means
Divine.
divine, yes. But in our context, our context means in our Sampradaya context, in the context that is utilized by our recent Vaishnavacharyas, beginning from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Daiva means specifically bhakti. Just like in the Nectar Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami speaks about different types of or different levels of happiness, right? What are the three levels of happiness described by Srila Rupa Goswami? Hare Krishna. 3 levels of happiness. We're all seeking happiness. We should. What are the 3 levels of happiness that people can experience, that the living entity is meant to experience or can experience?
Sensual happiness.
Huh?
Sensual happiness.
Sensual, yeah. That's called material happiness. But happiness based on the bodily, on our body, on the senses, sensual, yeah, sensual happiness, material happiness, which is described, of course, as there's 5 levels of consciousness, anamaya consciousness, which is small babies. They are on that, they're totally on the bodily platform. They're like little animals. I mean, we don't call children animals, but actually in philosophy, man is described as what?
Two-legged animal.
Huh?
Two-legged animal. Two-legged animal.
No, not
Social animal. Social animal.
rational animal. Rational, yeah. Right. We all have the same animal propensities, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but we have the added quality of intellect. We can reason, yeah. So most people only experience or know this first level of happiness, material happiness. The other 2 levels are obviously beyond material happiness, and so the second level is called, this is explained in detail by Srila Rupa Goswami. That's why Nectar Devotion is very important to study. So the second is called spiritual happiness. But spiritual happiness is not the perfectional stage. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, which we could compare spiritual happiness to divine happiness, Daiva. But Daiva for us means the 3rd level of happiness, which is described as the topmost level of happiness, which is described as devotional happiness. So this devotional happiness, that's why when we say classless society, the conflict and the divisions will more easily, or can only be, we could say, can only be avoided when we are all on the, so to speak, on the same page. Prabhupada gives a nice example. When we are standing near a pond, and if there are 10 people, each holding a small rock, if they throw at different places, then there will be, isn't it? The circles will all clash. But if everyone throws the stone in the center, then there will be harmony. There won't be this clash. So that is the meaning of Daiva Varnasrama. for and classless society. Means although there are natural divisions, beginning with the Dvijas, they are the most important. Everyone is important, but they have a particular duty and responsibility to give to give knowledge, to give leadership, to give protection, etc. Then only in that kind of scenario or situation can we expect to have proper peace and happiness within society. And of course, that's the same that Krishna, Prabhupada often quotes this verse, Bhuktaram Jagyatapasam Sarvalokam Maheswaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatvamam Shantim Vishati. Only those who are having this proper understanding that Krishna is the center, that Krishna is the Bhukta, he is the one who is meant to be served, he is the one who is meant to enjoy. And he is Suridam Sarvabhutanam, he is the best well-wisher and friend of all living entities. We can take some possible comments or questions from our
I have one cultural question. Maybe you know, maybe not. But you say that Dvija means getting initiation, spiritual initiation. But we know that at that time, 5,000 years ago, the Brahmanas was not necessarily Vaishnavas. There were different type of Brahmanas.
Yes, yes.
They studied the Vedas,
Even now.
but not necessarily in the consciousness of a Vaishnava.
Right.
So, but they have a right to be a spiritual master and to give initiation like Kṣatriyas, like kings, like other persons. So how they can get spiritually advancement by that initiation if the spiritual master is not a Vaishnava?
Yes. So that is explained by our acharyas that according to the level of the spiritual master, such a disciple will be able to advance and not beyond. If I'm not a Vaishnava, but I know Brahman, if I know about basics of spirituality, then I will be able to introduce people to that level of realization that I have. Of course, we have various statements in our Shastra which advises not to take initiation from those who are actually not fully realized in the subject matter of transcendental realization. So in other words, people who take initiation from someone who is a personalist, then they will also be only able to rise to that level or that platform. Yeah. Even that is not only the situation as it was 5,000 years ago. Even presently, vast majority of Brahmanas, or twice born, like in India, and for that matter, around the world, are in the category of impersonalists. Yeah. Yes.
So the family priests,
Well, yeah.
they are
Purohit.
impersonalists, but still they are giving this dialogue initiation
Yes.
for the qualified persons, and then they started their journey to the spiritual realization.
Yeah. So the whole system, Dvija was there. Even it is not something exclusive to the Vaishnavas. It is for those who have even to come beyond the level of bodily consciousness is rare. What to speak of going beyond the Brahman realization. That's what Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, how this particular knowledge of bhakti or devotional service is very confidential subject matter. Yeah.
Somebody wrote this message. Last question.
Yes.
Sometimes, due to laziness or a lack of taste, we tend to avoid chanting.
We tend to avoid chanting
and get absorbed in other services instead. If we continue doing devotional service but neglect our chanting, what are the consequences? How can we inspire ourselves to chant sincerely in such situations?
Yes, that is often a problem that devotees encounter. It was there from the very beginning in the context of our particular, let's say, movement or society, and it is still there today because there are so many different activities that one can take up and one should be taking up. Sometimes devotees tend to neglect this devotional activity, which is of course described by our acharyas and in the Shastra as being very essential and fundamental for our advancement in spiritual life. So we cannot and should not minimize. At different times it may happen in our devotional practice or devotional career that we that happens a lot to those who are temple presidents or those who have some particular responsibility. It can happen to anyone, and we start rationalizing, well, I have so much service, and we start neglecting. Either we chant less, or sometimes we stop chanting. That, all kinds of scenarios come up. But we should understand that this is not going to produce good results, rather the opposite, because the basis of, when we come to this position of neglecting or even just putting aside our chanting, that means we've unfortunately developed this false understanding that we are the doers. That if I don't do this, if I don't do all of these different things, which is one of the basic fundamental defects, which is actually the deep-rooted in our ahankar. Ahankar means falsely thinking that I am this or that, and ultimately that I'm the doer. So the way to come out for those, because that's part of the question, how to come out of this kind of situation, we have to seriously consider the matter, read or ask devotees who are very clear on this point to help us read and study these references where it is clearly established that without this fundamental practice of the chanting of the holy name, it is after all described as a yuga dharma for the cities of Kali. And Prabhupada, and I'm sure our other Vaishnavacharyas explain the same point. Prabhupada would explain how, for example, how the influence of Kali, this is what we are reading here, punishment and reward of Kali. The influence of Kali has become so strong and rampant, I mean, it's everywhere, that unless we chant, and this is like the minimum, we should actually be chanting more, but unless we chant this minimum of 16 rounds, we will not be sufficiently protected. Chances are we will not be sufficiently protected by the influence of Kali, by the which is represented, through these the influence of these three modes of material nature, and in very subtle ways as well. When we speak about the four, sinful activities, they are at different levels. They are gross. When we speak of illicit sex life, it is on the level of gross sex life. It is on the level of subtle sex life as well. These things are elaborately explained by our acharyas, and therefore, why does Srila Rupa Goswami, in the first of the 64 items of devotional service, isn't it, when he gives in detail, and this is all explained. Who has taken Bhakti Shastri here? Okay, Bhakti Shastri. Yeah, he's a Bhakti Shastri guy. Person. Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Bible. Yes. Important actually to take these systematic courses, because the point I was going to make is in the first 10 of the 64 items on devotional service, which are instructions for all of us how we can systematically, gradually advance from the lower levels of bhakti to the more natural and spontaneous levels. It refers to actually the importance of following and interacting with and following the instructions of the spiritual master. Spiritual authorities, Shiksha Gurus within our society. Shiksha Guru is very important. So without following especially the basic instructions, chanting the holy name is considered to be, when one takes vows to take initiation, in addition to the four basic principles which are related to the four pillars of Dharma, one also promises to chant 16 rounds, isn't it? So Prabhupada is explaining that it's like, Eneshi Aushaudi Maya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains how the Lord has brought the holy name. This is the medicine for curing our disease of Maya, or disease of forgetfulness of Krishna, forgetfulness of devotional service, forgetfulness that we are not the doers. So therefore, we wrongly very often think that, if I don't do all of these things, then things will not be right. The idea is that there are basic things in spiritual life that are, especially at the level of sadhana, bhakti, that need to be followed, and we need to increase in this way our conviction and understanding that actually the doer is there. It's Krishna. And we, of course, are meant to endeavor to the best of our ability in our whatever different services we are doing. Yeah. Anything else? Close to, yeah. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gauda Premananda.